Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developing Palates. I'm Aaron Loomis coming to you from the Drew Estate Studios. With me today is Jiunn Liu, Seth Geist, John McTavish. How you guys doing this evening?
Doing well.
Doing well, man. I complain about the weather, but really, it's been a pretty mild winter, and I've been able to smoke and do reviews and keep up to to y'all. Yeah, it's not that bad.
I'm actually the one that's keeping up with you guys.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. All right. So today we are talking about the Southern Draw Jacob's Ladder Brimstone Un Presidente. We'll see how the naming council likes this choice. I went with the giant Corona for a 9x48. What's the thoughts on this? Did I choose correctly or did I mess this one up?
I think it's a little bit bigger than a giant
Yeah,
Corona,
Is
but
it?
it's yeah,
yeah,
tight,
Per-
close though. It's pretty close.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So the cigar comes out of the Tabacalera AJ Fernandez factory in Nicaragua. Wrapper and binder, both Pennsylvania broadleaf. Filters from Nicaragua. Price point is $15. Blended by Robert Holt. Cigar was released in November of 2020. So with all that out of the way, June, what was your overall experience like with the cigar?
Um, I think if this cigar was maybe a third of the size, I would have liked it a lot better because there's some parts of it that I actually found pretty pleasant. Like the second third, I really liked. Where it kind of got this like chalkiness to the profile. And then there's like more spice to the cigar. A lot of damp earth cedar, but and it gives like this, medium plus strength, medium body kind of a thing going on. I do wish, for something that's utilizing a Pennsylvania broadleaf, it'll give me a little bit more body than I had. But I kind of feel like overall it was average, just because it was such a taxing smoke to go through. Like, or maybe I wasn't in the mood to smoke for 4 hours. I don't think I was. I think it was like Friday night after work, and I was like, "Fuck, I gotta get a review." But yeah, it was okay though. Not bad.
All right, Seth, what were your thoughts?
Yeah. Listen, I was getting some, richer stone fruit, spice notes, some seasoned wood, a little bit of chocolate, cocoa, earth. I think you probably said some of those like multiple times. Um, medium full. Like June said, I was expecting a little bit more out of the cigar. I was expecting more body and strength. Um, so I think it was lacking in that sense, and I think it just didn't, for being 9 inches, it couldn't grow. It didn't go anywhere. It just kind of just
It couldn't grow.
it couldn't grow. I mean, listen, it was already big, but it's just too
Oh,
big.
pardon me, oh, sir.
So yeah, didn't go anywhere.
All right, John, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, we'll probably get into it in more detail after I go through the notes, but I'm kind of glad that it didn't have the body because it is a commitment, and I'm on record as saying I'm really not a fan of large cigars, mostly because you can only smoke for so long before the experience becomes monotonous, and even if the flavor profile is excellent, at some point you're just going to get tired of smoking. You want to change it up. That being said, I was very surprised. This is probably one of the best large format cigar experiences in the non-Cuban market that I've had, and I was pleasantly surprised. I think June was correct that it started out way lighter than I anticipated, especially having smoked the original Jacob's Ladder, which was extremely strong. It's really the quote unquote man challenge if you can smoke one of those in the morning, and then the Brimstone, which was to me kind of dialed back, and I was like, man, if it's as strong as the regular Brimstone, like I'm gonna be having to eat peanut M&Ms by the halfway point because I'm gonna be dry heaving. But it was like almost soft starting out, like creamy light pepper, like a raisin like sweetness. Very, like I put in here, very mild for a Jacob's Ladder, and then the cedar and baking spices sort of started to play. And I mean, you're talking like an hour for the first third. So I mean, it's a long first third experience. And then, as June said, the second third really stepped up in strength, which I think was good because I think if the first third experience had carried through for the remainder of the cigar, I would have been pretty bored. So the intensity there was nice: baking spices, chocolate, cedar, bready notes, and then by the last third, I mean, we're talking like 3 hours, and it's just again palate fatigue. So there's baking spice and sweet wood, light cedar, tannins, I just didn't feel there's enough in the last third, and it could just be palate fatigue, but I just didn't feel like there was enough in that last third to keep me engaged. So it's like an hour-ish plus for the last third, and it's tough to smoke a cigar for an hour plus without really a lot of change ups. Given the stupendously large nature of the cigar, the burn was like pretty perfect. Ash kept falling in my laps at about 1.5 inch increments. So eventually I got wise and started ashing it. Um, I had some interesting experience with the draw. I don't know if anybody else said this, but especially because of the kind of Parejo shape, started out pretty tight, like 3.5, 4 notches, and then settled in, opened to like three and a half, or I should say Parejo, because it's not Parejo. I'm on dope. Sorry. It started out tight, and then as I smoked it, it kind of continued to open up, and then opened up to about 2.5 to 3 notches, like maybe 25 minutes into the first third. So I don't know why it was resistant to start, but it seemed to be fine for the remainder of the experience. So overall, I know that was a novel, but it's a long cigar. I had a good experience. Aaron, walk us through you.
Yeah, not going to say anything anybody else hasn't said, but for a cigar that of this size, it's difficult to maintain a blend that's going to have a profile that engages your palate the entire time, right? I just think that the Southern Draw kind of fell victim to that same issue. It started well, just kind of lost complexity as the cigar went along. Final third was a bit monotonous. I would have been fine with just the first 2/3 of this one. People that are fans of Jacob's Ladder, Brimstone, there's a profile here that you'll like. It just depends on if you'll like it for the entire time that the cigar is going to be burning. But I don't think I'll come back to this. Price point's high. Smoking time commitment is high. I'll just go back to the original Jacob's Ladder or the Brimstone rather than coming back to this. But I mean, it's fun to see somebody take a shot at it, a large 9-inch cigar or something like that. But it's just, I don't think it's something that most people would smoke on a regular basis. There's probably some guys that would do it, but it's not for me. All right, let's get into the scores. Start at the top with John at 6.52. Jiunn was next at 6 even. I gave it a 5.85, and Seth gave it a 5.50. So, John, how'd that 6.52 matchup for you?
I mean, that tracks. I mean, if you converted this to like a Lonsdale Corona experience, it's like an 8. So, like I said, going into this, I'm admittedly, I just don't like big cigars. Like, I'll smoke big Cuban cigars, but that's like when I'm in Cuba sitting on the patio of the Nacional and all I've got to do is smoke for 16 hours. Large format
sounds
cigars just
great.
kind of aren't my thing. But with all that out of the way, the score matches up really well. I mean, I would if I was golfing or if I had just nothing but time on my hands, yeah, I'd probably light up one of these. It's a good experience. Maybe watching the big game, maybe I'll light it up. Who knows?
There you go. All right, Jiunn, 6 even.
It's for the fact that I had a nice third that I enjoyed. I didn't think it was. I think it was a little above average to that extent. But man, like what pretty much all you guys are saying, for smoking something for like that long to try to enjoy it and to not get palate fatigue and flavor fatigue is really hard, especially when you combine it with such a like heavy Pennsylvania broadleaf wrapper to it. So, and I just had this thought, by the way, if I ever made a 9x48 cigar, I would make it like I would do different wrappers within like every 2 inches, right? You
that's
start with like
interesting.
Connecticut shade, right? Maybe you do a little Ecuador Habano, and then you could move on to like
Araparaca.
What are you doing? A Jose Blanco blending seminar, man?
Yeah.
no, don't. I'm not talking about Jose, okay? I'm talking about Jiunn. But yeah, I'm basically talking
So
about
we're
Jose.
doing a June blending seminar.
So I'm basically talking about what Jose was doing.
Finish up with Brazilian Araparaca on top of Sumatra or something like that, just so it's
Yeah, and then
finished
you
as
gotta throw a
strong.
little Aganorsa Corojo in there, and then maybe you finish off with like Connecticut broadleaf, right?
Finish strong.
That was fucking awesome, dude.
Pick up the
Stop.
6
I
wrappers.
really
now,
like
huh?
that idea. Actually,
Fuck yeah,
I'm
man.
gonna make that happen.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna name it. I think
Oh,
I want.
gosh.
I've been thinking about this over the weekend. I'm like, we should come out with cigars, and we should score the cigar, and that'll be the name of the cigar,
That sounds
right?
like a
So
great
that's
idea, actually.
right. So we'll say DP 7.5.
There you go.
That'll be the cigar.
That's That's gonna have to be one hell of a cigar to be
Yeah.
7.5.
Yeah, I mean, most of it's probably going to be like DP 5.5.
Do you know how
Why,
many?
why would you release them at that point, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that's
You
true.
just smoke them for
Exactly.
Yeah,
us.
fuck that 7.5.
All right, my 5.85 matches up well. It was this above average flavor profile, very good construction. And I think for a cigar this size, 5.5 is pretty respectable. I mean, it's unless you've got a very unique blend in this cigar that's going to actually change up over time, it's going to be really hard to keep people's attention for that long. So I think it did okay. All right, Seth, 5.5.
Yeah, see, I think it's a total failure for that cigar. I think that this is just the classic example of people making a 9x48 just to make something super big when it's like, I don't know, this is when I feel like you take the art and the craft out of it. And this industry loves to talk about the romantic aspect of making cigars and cigar smoking in general. But then Robert releases this $15 average cigar for that's 9 inches. It's just, I don't know, it's a shame. It's one of these things that I may have been a little bit harsh on it just because it's just was average. Because
Right.
if you're gonna make a listen, if you're gonna make a Lancero, you better have a good wrapper on it. If you're gonna make a double Corona or a extra Grand Corona, whatever you want to call it,
Super Grand Corona.
yeah, make it really good. Make sure that the final third tastes really good and that they're gonna want to get to the final third.
Right.
I can count on one hand the number of cigars that size that I've liked in
Yeah.
all the time I've been smoking. It's a
In
really
non-Cuban
hard
world,
format.
you mean?
Yeah, and half of them, more than half of them are Cubans.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true.
Yeah. I mean, I love buying like those big double Coronas within the Cuban world. Like, you get so
Exactly.
excited looking at a big freaking cab of like, I don't know, whatever, like some Lucy's or yeah.
Lucy's,
San Luis Reyes, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
Right.
we talked a lot about Cubans. What did this AJ mean?
Listen, I think there's a huge. My eyes have been opened. Being a retailer up in Canada, I think there's a big market for larger ring gauge cigars. I think the profile is approachable enough that I think it's going to do really well for them. So yeah, I think it'll have some commercial success for sure.
All right. Any other final thoughts from you guys on this?
And the cigar that I'm gonna make, it has to be a thinner ring gauge.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah, we're not talking
it's gonna be
Lancero
expensive.
thin.
We should
We're
do a
talking
separate.
more
We
like,
should
What are you
just do
going
a
like,
separate
45?
video
3
on a
different wrappers,
brainstorming
man.
session
Jeez.
here.
okay, all right.
All right, if you're just catching this video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us. But also check out the full written review on the website, developmentpalates.com. Follow us on all social media channels, and you can catch all of our review recaps on podcasts, so iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in. We will catch you on the next one.